Hey guys, and welcome back to another video inside of my 5-year plus creative world. We are doing the yearly tradition of doing the June 2025 updates around my world, and immediately you guys are going to notice something slightly different about my content. This is the first gaming video I've ever done on a screen recorder. I'm using OBS on my computer. I'm not just holding it up to my TV screen. So, there are some kinks with the system. This took me like an hour and a half just to get all the settings finagled the right way so that it would work. And it does. It works, right? My voice is coming through a nice microphone, so it should sound better. And overall, the screen should be higher quality. Granted, I had some frame rate problems, so it is only running at 780p and 30 FPS. If any of you actually care about that, then my apologies for that. But while it does still lag a little bit, I'll show you, like, this isn't the smoothest gameplay in the world, and especially if I'm running around the world, it doesn't look fantastic. Also, extremely recently, Minecraft did an update where they made everything kind of pretty, kind of like ray tracing-esque, without actually making it ray tracing. And the cost of this is, as you can see, my render distance is probably worse than it was even on the Xbox. And sadly, I never got to show you what the world looked like when I first transferred over to computer back in November of 2024, because I could see basically the entire world without any drawbacks. But since they've done this ray tracing built into vanilla Minecraft, it kind of screws over the frame rate. But otherwise, I do definitely prefer how the new visuals look, especially when I'm so used to how the old versions of these buildings look. To have something entirely new like this is really cool. And with some of the buildings I'm going to show you today, you'll be able to see how the lighting makes the rooms look really nice. And the water. I really like the water. That's why I'm going to show you some old things that I think look really nice because of the change they made to water. So, I realize I wrote a list and left it outside, so let me go grab that. Alright, I received the paper. I realized that me writing down everything I have to show you today and then not using the paper would be kind of a bad idea. But first, the first thing I want to show you is I want to jump from 20 stories here. Whee! And I want to go ahead and drop the frame rate. Again, I tried. It was so bad at some points. Maybe I'll even show you a clip if you really want to see it. To get it running at this frame rate and at least somewhat smoothly was a bit of a challenge for me. Look at the water. This is the indoor pool, one of the first things I ever built. You can see completely through the building now. It's really cool. Now, like the water, you can see through it, and you could see everything at the bottom of the water, which you never could before. Sometimes they have patterns like that. I don't know. I think it's a really cool update. You can also kind of see through the glass with the water showing on the other side. I think it's a pretty cool change. I think that water in the new update just genuinely looks fantastic, which is why I want to go to my water park real quick, because this building is so much better. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like on the inside, it's like a boat race kind of thing where you go up to the top and then splash down. But now you can actually see like the pattern I tried to do on the back of it, because the water is now see-through and not like this ugly shade of blue anymore. You can actually see like the inside, like the blue inner workings of the building. There's also like a glass structure on the top that just looks so much better with the clear water. Honestly, when I built this, it was a lot of work, so I wasn't going to remove it or anything, but I was not extremely proud of it. But now, does it have a name? Did I give this one a name? This is the Whirlpool. I guess that makes sense. And actually, that says the Whirlpool. We're just going to ignore that. Actually, let's go ahead and change that right now. Listen, I never claimed to be a great speller, so you got to give me some slack on that one. But yeah, just the water, genuinely amazing. I love how the new water looks. And on the inside is also much better because you can kind of see more than you could before. Before it was all just blue on the inside, but now if I were to go on this ride again, and if I were to press the right keys, it would be able to go all the way across the top and see all the blue and the sea lanterns and stuff. However, that is not the coolest part of the water park. The other thing that I want to show you is the bucket. The bucket of boats, I believe I called it. I had to watch my last year video to make sure that I didn't repeat anything here. Also, the concrete looks a little different. I won't lie. It looks a little more grainy than I remember it being. Maybe that's just a lighting thing? Could be. I don't know either way. But yeah, look at the bucket. Oh my god. If I could do a little side-by-side right now, my old footage versus the new one. Doesn't this just look so much cooler? I don't know. I wasn't expecting this ride of all things to be like one of the coolest new things with this lighting update. But the way that the water kind of is now see-through, kind of like what we saw with the indoor pool, it really shows like all the blue and the sea lanterns on the inside of the bucket. And I think it looks really cool. Way better than what it looked like before, and I didn't even hate how it looked before. I just think it's a really, really nice looking thing now. It does also show, I will show some blemishes of the water though. Like here, you can very obviously see that I never changed all of the ground from dirt to some nice material. This is Sky Drop, I believe. This is the one that goes all the way up to world limit and then you fall down from a cloud. Cannot even see it from down here. But yeah, it does reveal some blemishes like this. Like you can see the dirt underneath it. Also the squid tank. The stained glass is kind of still kind of a crapshoot because it kind of blurs all the water in the inside. Like if you looked from above here, you could see like all the boats and stuff that I built in here. But then when you go on the outside, it's kind of just blurry again. But hey, none of that stuff is new. That's just all from the update, making it look way nicer. And what's up, dude? What's up, cow? So, of my list of stuff, let's talk about something else first, something general, before we get into actual buildings themselves. You see this? So, on the very outside of my world, there is a giant row of grass going all the way along the entire border. This is a giant square that goes across the entire world. And my plan for this, as you can see by these houses over here, we'll get to that one in a second. But my plan for this is kind of a border. It's kind of like this is the final area that my world is going to be, because it was fun for like 5 years to have like, hey, you could build anywhere you want, right? Like I can go in any direction, build anywhere I want. Now I like kind of making it more complete. We are going to turn off the rain. Okay, the rain is off. But yeah, basically the border is because I want the world to have a final date. When I build the last building, I know it's the last thing I have to build because that's all the space I filled up. So I'm basically just making a time limit as to when I'm going to fill up the world. Now, there is still so much space, as you can see by areas like right here. There's area behind Mount Linda right there. We'll get to the school in a minute. But there is a lot of area I still have left to build, and it does go across the entire world. So there is still a lot of years of content for me to build here, but it is more final because I'm not going to build past the border, and I could build things going up to the border like that, which again I'll show you in a minute. So I don't know. Once it's done, it's going to kind of scale up like a mountain, and it's going to be like a proper border for the world. It's not that exciting, but it's just something that is new, and I'm going to show you. Speaking of which, let's show you this real quick. This is an idea I had recently when I was playing with my brother, and it was to kind of take any of the old survival houses I had and bring them into my creative world. This is the first of hopefully many. I'm hoping to just kind of expand this hill area out a long time. And I'm just going to build pretty much every survival house I've had from most of my recent worlds. And if I'm really feeling crazy, I can go back to like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era of Minecraft and get those buildings too and recreate them here. I just thought it'd be a really cool idea. Obviously, I have not gone farther than just doing this one. This was from a world I did maybe 3 years ago with my brother. And the whole gimmick was that we had like a water elevator that led from my house to his. And it was the first one I did because it was the first one on the list. It was the one we played in most recently. So I said, hey, we're going to build this one first, and then it's hopefully just going to keep spreading all the way along. So the reason it's on a hill like this is because in a normal world, you're not restricted to like 3 block deep areas. Because on super flat, obviously, you only have so much room you could dig down. And on a normal world, I do not have that limit. So there's a lot more room to go down. So that was a problem. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to go up. So touring this little survival house, I made sure to put the beehive and like this cobblestone wall because they were there in the original world for some reason. Yeah, you have a nice little balcony out here with some jungle stairs and some yellow things. Oh, even crazier. I was feeling really crazy when I built this, and this took a lot more time than it should have. The chests all have exactly what I had in them. I don't know why I decided to do this, but now that I've done it, I think it's pretty cool. So like this chest up here is exactly what I had in that chest. Same thing over here. This was the exact amount of stuff and the exact stuff I had in the chest. in my original survival world. And I thought that'd be a really cool touch. Now, there is a storage room down there, which we'll show you last. This was one where I experimented with like crafting tables on the floor, crafting tables and oak wood for the floor. A bunch of just survival stuff, pretty much what you'd expect. We played a lot of time in this world. There was nothing in the shulker box, there's like nothing over here. Maybe I just forgot to do it upstairs, who knows. Eventually this will connect to my brother's house if I decide to build that in this world as well. There's some beds out here. The upstairs balcony looks pretty much exactly the same as the downstairs one. It does have a very nice view of like the zombie land and the pottery place over there, which I think is pretty cool. Then we move downstairs, and this connects to the farm. So this is my first time doing a multi-layered farm. Basically, if you swim up the waterfall, you have a wheat farm on the surface. If you go down, it's a potato farm. And then the bottom floor, which is even deeper, is carrots. And again, tried to create this to the best of my ability. I was just going off pictures I took on my phone. So it's possible like, oh no, the diorite might be one block out of place. But for the most part, I tried to recreate it exactly how it was in my randomly generated survival world. So that was a cool thing I decided to do. And again, I'm probably going to do more things like that in the future once I kind of had the motivation for it. This was definitely a, oh my god, stop everything I'm doing and build this right now because I think it's a really cool idea. Now that I've done it, I'm ready to kind of build other things for now. And yes, you see all these chests? Each one of these chests has exactly what I had in it in that original world. And I won't go through all of them, I'll just go through most of them. This one was a nightmare. Getting like the exact amount of dirt I needed and stuff like that was kind of a bit of a mess, but I did it. Also, little fun fact, there's a secret room back here. Never did much with this in the survival world, but I just made some cool patterns with like the lava and the water, which looks really nice with the new update, I will say. And then this just ends because I never built anything farther in that direction. So yeah, something new I'm trying. I don't know how many survival houses I'm going to recreate, but that was the first one I decided to do, and that's what this building is right here. Next up, let's just go right down the street to Sniff City, or Sniff Village, or Sniff Empire, whatever I called it. Basically, a couple updates ago now, they added these stupid little enemies called the Sniffers. And I always knew I wanted to do something with them, and I decided to build like apartment complexes, but not only apartment complexes, but buildings in the style of like those old children's books, almost like Dr. Seuss, where the buildings are not realistically built and they're kind of wobbling a little bit. They're very colorful, they have funny windows on it, and that was basically what I wanted to do for these buildings. Hence the outwardly pink and orange color scheme. Also, we can see one of the sniffers in there. I also tried to model stuff like the fountain after the general aesthetic of sniffers. So like the gold is for the nose, the moss is like the back of the thing. I'm realizing now it's not symmetrical. I'm gonna need to fix that. See, sometimes you just mess up a little bit and then you have to fix it. And then the brick is like the red bottom part of a sniffer. But yeah, for the most part, these two buildings should be identical. I alternated between using mangrove wood and cherry wood for the windows. On the inside is basically everything a sniffer needs to live. So plants and a lot of torch flowers and the excuse me, sir, and the pot flowers, I think they're called. Just some general feeding troves, and then if Schnozzletaz will move out of the way for a second, and we go all the way up these rickety staircases. A little bit dangerous. There is just a sheer drop down there. Go all the way to the top and see that there is, in fact, more plants. Yep, the red one is for the torch flowers, and then the other one is primarily focused on the pot flowers. You know, the big, like the pitcher plants. I don't actually remember what they're called. They're the blue ones, though. You'll see them in a second. Also up there's a nice little bed for the sniffer. If my parkour skills were better, I could have actually made that. But if you go up here, if you go up here, you go up here, get up here. Come on! Go up here, thank you! You can see that there is just some beds and some general sniffer memorabilia around here. This is a sniffer egg right here. So yeah, this one, pretty basic. The other one is going to follow a very similar structure. It is a cool view if you look up, though. I really like doing these patterns with stairs where it's like you kind of have two different types of woods in a spiral staircase going up. So here's bamboo and the new pale oak wood. This one has a very nice fountain on the outside, which, again, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, with the water update looks really cool. And actually, the farm up there, that window, the water is coming straight from where that farm was up there. I can show you that real quick. But yeah, going back upstairs for a second, you can see that the window is broken and the water is just straight up flowing out of the window into the little mosaic looking pond. There we go. The words were escaping me for a second there. And yeah, there's a general archway as well as a much taller orange and yellow building. You're going to notice a very similar pattern on the inside, but slightly different. Shut the gate. Oh my god, shut the gate please. But slightly different at the same time. Like there's more glowstone flowers in this one than the other one. There's like more leaves around here, more pitcher plants. I was right. I think I said that at one point. Uh, hi, buddy. What you doing there? So if Sniffendale would move out of the way, please. Thank you. You can see this one goes up. This one is using a blackstone and tough staircase going up. This one I actually like this one a lot more. This one has like these little plants going all the way up with the leaves on the inside. The word. Oh, there's two in here. Sniffadiffin. I like their names. Good job, past me. You did good. And yeah, this one is very similar, except for this time it is a bit of a different farm. And this time it's more of a staircase one. There's like these firefly bushes which were added in a recent update. Haven't done much with those yet, as well as the pitcher plants, the torch flowers, and anything along those lines. There's also some fancy lights. Yeah, the orange one is just straight up much better. Maybe I should improve the other one at some point, but for now they're both pretty good. I believe there should also be water flowing out of this farm somewhere, because there's a lake out back. I guess I'll have to check from outside. But I do believe, I'm just going to jump down because I don't take fall damage in creative mode. There we go. I believe in this one as well, there is a little pond out back with a waterfall going from this window, from the top of the farm. And yeah, that is Sniff Towers. Up top, I guess you can't really see this from the ground, there is a little chimney. And on this one, there is a very cute recreation of a sniffer, which honestly looks more like a duck than a sniffer, but hey, you're not really going to be able to see that from the ground anyway. And yeah, that is Sniff Towers. I also just planted some general scenery around here. If you're wondering what that guy is down there, they added an item called Suspicious Sand and Suspicious Gravel to the game not too long ago. So I kind of had to do the obvious joke. This was like a couple years ago. I must have showed it when I added it. Probably in one of these past updates I've already showed it. But I had to make the obvious joke. I couldn't not. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and head over here. And this, I believe, I guess we'll find out later if I'm correct on this assumption, is the only thing that I truly improved on since the last time you guys were here. I'm looking at my list right now, and unless I forgot to write it down, which is entirely possible, yes, this should be the only improved building this time around. So let's go ahead and go back in time to see me reviewing my old church. Which seems to be... oh, this. Okay. So this was... these two things are very sad. Basically, this is a grave, like a funeral thing. I don't know why I built it, but basically at the time, a couple of my pets died at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna remember them and bury them back here. And that's like where you do the service and stuff. But next door, actually, since the same thing was happening, I took my dogs and cats at the time and put them here, so that way I know that they wouldn't get hurt in any way, and that they'd be safe in there. I don't know why I kept it around. I thought it was kind of cool looking, and it was a nice historical thing. Maybe I should have moved it to the museum if I was smart, but I didn't think of that at the time. Alright, remember that clip from 2 years ago? Yeah, I don't, until I rewatched it for the editing of this video. But yeah, I never liked this building. So I've always wanted to make a church-like building. For the sake of this building, it is a Christian or Catholic church. Obviously, if I uploaded this, I know I'd have to remove the cross on the front, but the cross I just left from the original building because it is a sign of church. If you go to a church, there's usually a cross on it, at least Christian churches, which is what I was inspired by. And I was inspired by like those New York churches where you go inside and they're just absolutely massive. You look up and it just goes up forever. And there's like dangling lights. And there's the inside. There's the little candle area where you pay respects to people. And I love those buildings. Even as somebody who is not very religious at all, I just love seeing old churches and stuff like that. I will give you a quick view of the outside. It is lagging a little bit. I wanted to keep the cobblestone aesthetic because obviously that was the aesthetic of the original one. I just wanted to add some colorful windows. If this stupid freaking nether building, the Strider house, that's what it is, would move out of my way, you could see on this side, I went with like an egg-shaped window. I believe on the front there's a sunflower, and then the pillars too. I really like doing the pillar idea for this one. But yeah, I wanted kind of a very mosaic stone aesthetic, and that is exactly what I went for. The soul torches on the new update look incredible the way they go down like that. And yeah, for the most part, I did keep the original building intact. Like you can see this cobblestone entrance. While it was added upon, it is the general size and shape of the old one, so it is much more of an improvement than the other one was. And this is the Church of the Holy Cow. Can you guess what is inside of the church? It's a holy cow. This is Meredith, I believe, which is a reference to a movie I made with my friends. You can check it out on the drawing guy if you are interested. It is a lot, very hard to follow, but I had a blast making it. And one of the plot points in it is that the hero gets saved by a holy cow named Meredith Methane Blaster 24. So obviously I was inspired by that and called the Church of the Holy Cow with Meredith. However, since I did pass over all of the other church, here you can see is all of the candles. Obviously the candles are in remembrance of my pets who have died in the world, which was the entire point of the church before. I also kept all of the items from before, updated a couple of them. I don't actually remember which one is which because I got rid of the signs, but these are all of the animals who have passed or fell off of a building or got killed because of a glitch or anything like that. I put an item up here in their memory. Same thing on the other side, except for this time it's for not dogs and cats. This is for like donkeys and stuff and parrots, I believe. There's only a couple of those. And yeah, I believe the colors also match whatever color of the collar the dog had. I could be wrong though. There's also just like some extra flint and steel in here, as well as any of the items that actually resemble the dogs or cats themselves. So if you look up, you can see the light gimmick I was expressing earlier. I also wanted to put tons of lights in here because that's like the whole gimmick with churches, right? Is they're super lit up, super illuminated, everything like that. So here I kind of went with like the Harry Potter approach with the floating fence posts with the lanterns on top, as well as just so much glowstone all the way around. Also quartz. I liked using a lot of quartz in here. And yeah, here's like the seating area where you would watch the pastor Meredith Bethany Methane Blaster 24. A couple tries on that one. Talk about her holy proclamations. Also, there's milk on the walls because it is a cow. The stairs are black and white because it is a cow. The floor, the leaf and mossy cobblestone aesthetic is actually what was there before. Because you remember on the old one in the clip I just showed you, there was like that outdoor area with like the little cemetery out back. That was the groundwork there. I just extended that all the way through. And up here is for the choir. Usually in churches you have the choir. This is where they would sing. These are supposed to be microphones. All right. Bear with me. I'm working with giant blocks in a small area. I did the best I could. These are supposed to be like the speakers that the music's coming out of. And then this is the confession booth, which is mostly used in, let me look it up so I don't upset anybody, from Catholic churches, according to Google. Don't get mad at me if that's incorrect. But yeah, the Catholic churches, they have like the confession booth where there's the screen, you open it up, and then you confess to somebody else your sins, except for this time, it would be to a cow, which would be a very interesting experience. But yeah, a lot of these newer buildings you're going to notice, I do like to use similar building blocks like wood and obviously stone, but here I really wanted to try out the tough bricks, because when I built this, they were just added to the game, because there's been, I believe, 2 updates since I last showed you this world. But yeah, that is the new church. I will say it is a massive improvement over the old one. It's night and day, and it's huge. Absolutely humongous. And it is kind of the aesthetic I was going for because it looks so much bigger on the inside than it does on the outside, which again is how those churches usually work. Also, this used to be like a little doghouse for my dogs. However, it didn't really match the bamboo jungle garden kind of aesthetic I had going on. So I just put a tree in it, and I acted like it was overgrown. So I put a bunch of moss blocks in it, a bunch of trees, while also keeping some of what was in the original house here, just to, as a remembrance that it was there, but also to make it match the environment a little bit more. Also, I removed all of the fence posts going around it just to kind of clear the space a little bit. I think I also added maybe a couple more benches, but you're not here to see that. You're here for the entirely new things. So ironically enough, a lot of the stuff is either built on this side of the world, like Sniff City or the church, or it's built on the complete opposite side of the world. So I'm going to quickly fly over everything, make sure there's nothing that I forgot to share that I would like to share with you guys. Anything new? I'm not seeing it so far. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Let's go talk about this. So this right here is supposed to be like a science observatory. Obviously, in a lot of fiction, you have that observatory with the huge telescope coming at the top, and that was the aesthetic I had going here, except for this time it's with spy glasses, right? So the spy glasses were an odd add to the game where you can like zoom in on something from afar. So instead of having a telescope popping at the top, it's a spyglass. But for the most part, this is still the same thing as those ones are in real life. It's an observatory. That's the word for it. That's what I was looking for. I also do plan to build like a whole-on like space station next to it, but since this is the most recent thing I'm building, this is still yet to be completed. I worked on it a bit last night because it has admittedly been a couple months since I last played in this world, so it was unfinished. All I did was I just added like a little floor in, which I think looks very nice. I used red carpet, wood, and then stone. For some reason, when I was building it, Fluffy Jr. teleported from next door because it is the doghouse next door and teleported in here. So he was just sitting down because he was getting in my way. This is an observation tower. So you can go up here and just generally get a much better view of everything in the world. Go up the scaffolding, and you can see that I fell off. Okay, my legs would be broken right there. But yeah, if you actually stay on the barrier and don't jump over it, you can see that it's a very nice view of the town with a very nice sunset. The render distance is really annoying because this would be a much prettier view. I think even on the Xbox this would be a prettier view. But yeah, what can you do? I do prefer the visuals over render distance if I had to choose, so that is what I'm going to go with. I know I can turn it off, but I'm just going to leave it for now. I think it looks pretty good. And this is what I ended up building last night. This is supposed to be like a miniature map, right? So this is supposed to be like the table with the Earth hologram on it, except for it's like an actual map. And like on this land, there's trees and vines. Here's the water. And then over here, they have like farmland where it's like wheat and chicken and stuff. And then above it, I built a very stereotypical looking rocket ship to represent a rocket ship. And then that is supposed to be the moon, and that is supposed to be the sun over there. So yeah, again, my goal here was to use a bunch of the new blocks added in the update prior to this one, which was the one with the whatever they're called, like the new spawner places with like the breezes and the mushroom skeletons in it. That, which is why you have all this like these resin blocks on the wall, which I think look pretty good. When paired with other stuff on their own, they are a little bit ugly, as well as like raw iron because I never used raw iron and anything else. Basically, my goal for right now is just to use blocks that I've straight up never used before, which is why I also used a bunch of like mob spawners in the window because I thought it would look cool. And yeah, so far that is the observatory. Obviously, it's so not done. There's not even like a path or anything, and then there's obviously not any tables or chairs over there or anything like that. So there is much more to be done. And wow, the redstone looks weird. Look at that. Weird. Cool though. I like it. But yeah, that is the observatory. Obviously very unfinished. I did add a beacon over here if you were curious about that. But we can go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is not the pool, but I actually haven't looked at the pool yet with the new water update. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I really like how the sea lanterns look underwater. Sorry, that was just because I wanted to see what it looked like. Let's go ahead and move on to this back here, which for privacy's sakes, because it does have real people's names on the inside, I'm not going to go inside. But very recently, I invited some of my friends to join into my world for the very first time. We played some mini games. We played like the pumpkin mini game, and I believe we did the quiz house mini game, which I did a video on 2 years ago. Maybe the archery range? No, we did Spleef. Spleef, sorry. We did not do the archery range, we did Spleef. So, I was like, hey, if you guys want to build something, go for it. And they built this. Actually, I put the curtain in front of it. It just says sexy behind it. One of my friends just put sexy in quartz blocks, and I said, I'm not going to put that there. So I put a giant screen in front of it, a giant blackout screen. This is an Ender Dragon head built with nether portal frames. Again, for privacy, I'm not going inside there. However, you might be able to see some glimpse of it on the inside through the actual nether portal. There's a chicken in there, I can see that. And another one built this. Ignore the strange looking buildings back there. This is like a beehive. It's very dark because it's the middle of the night, but it's just like one beehive. We were making a joke and he's like, okay, I'll put in a window, and he put in a brick block. So that's supposed to be a window. Again, I didn't build this. I put the end stone around it. Okay, I'll give you that. He just built like this wax cube, and I said, no, I'm gonna make it look pretty. I'm gonna put some end stone stairs around it. So that was me. I'll admit that. And then this is supposed to be like a Herobrine spawner thing. Like this is what it would be like back in the day. It did not summon Herobrine. I know. Dang it. But yeah, just some stuff that other people have added to my world. Stuff I'm not going to remove. Stuff that if I do put this world up for download, I might have to remove some of the signs on the inside because they are not appropriate to show you guys. But other than that, stuff that will be here forever. I'm not getting rid of this stuff. It will be annoying to build around it. I'll probably have to plant trees or something because it's a bit spread out. But hey, I have plenty of other room to build, so be it. Next up, how about we go to... let's do the school next. That is probably the last thing I'm going to show you. That's probably the biggest thing I've added, not counting the school, since you guys last saw this. Because the school is what I was actively building the last time you guys saw this world. It's 100% done. It took forever, which is why there is significantly less stuff to show you this time than before, and is one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing, in this entire world. So this is a very exciting thing that I'm very excited to show all of you. Alright, so let's go back here through the secret hideout and by YHH Incorporated, and this is my 100% completed school. I'll give you a quick fly around back. There is a bunch of stuff back here that I will have to show you as it comes up. A lot of the stuff is tied to individual rooms, so what I might do is just show you all the classrooms first and then show you all the outside stuff at the end, because there is a class, there's like a farming class, right? And that's what the giant barn is for right here. So maybe I'll just show you all the classes, including the farming one first, and then just come around back after. I think that makes the most sense. There's a cave here because there's a mining class, and yeah, let's just go right in the front entrance. I'll just show you the outside real quick because this would take a long time. Very interesting window pattern here. Wonder what that could be for. Guess you'll have to wait and see. There's this kind of little bump back here because I did need a little bit more space. It's a little bit of a strange shaped building, but I still think it looks pretty cool. I added some fences there to make it look like the roof isn't just going to collapse one day. On this side, there is a giant window and a couple smaller ones. And then up front, I do have these giant glass windows showing into the library, the main entrance, as well as the cafeteria over here, which actually has a bit of an outdoor seating area. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop right in. This is the main entrance right here. Weirdly enough, I never actually gave it a title or a name or anything like that. Maybe there's sound for you guys, but I'm just realizing there is currently no sound. Weird. Okay, well I hope it captures for you guys, otherwise we're going to be in big trouble. But yeah, this is the main entrance of the school. I believe I showed you this last year, but I'll go ahead and run through it all again. Here is the lost and found over here, which it does say on both sides. Very nifty little update they did there. These are all empty. There's nothing in the chests. There's some seating area around here. This is supposed to be the big mosaic tile that most schools have on the ground. And this is the main office. I've definitely showed you this before. I actually used Bedrock in this, which is something I don't use a lot. This is where, like, if you're ever late or you need to, like, hasten a note or something, this is where you'd go. This just leads out into the hallway, which we'll go to in a minute. This is where you would do the announcements. So this redstone repeater is supposed to be like the microphone. There's a bell up here, and then these levers don't actually do anything. This, however, I do remember showing you this before. This is the bell. Underneath each and every classroom, there is a note block on top of a gold block, which makes a bell sound. If there is audio, then this is what it sounds like. It's basically just a note block under every single classroom, and it just makes a loud bell sound. This is the nurse's office, which was weirdly made out of clay. There's some red chests in here with some regen potions, some potions to make you feel better, mostly healing potions, but those are just thick potions, and then some books to keep you busy in case you're not feeling well, and then some beds to rest on. Pretty average nurse stuff, and that's just the more boring part of the school. Let's go into the more interesting part of the school. Starting with the library, we'll go down the right hallway first. I don't know why that weird visual glitch just happened, but we're going to ignore that. Here is the library. There is 3 tiers of bookshelves, so you can get books on both sides. There are some tables, so you can sit, read, study, whatever you want to do. And then because I grew up in the 2000s era, we had computers at school, and most of our computers were in the computer lab in the library. So I added some very blocky, because what else are you going to do, computers to the lab with some chairs as well. I wish I put like a painting up there or something. Definitely could have done more decorating here. Actually, there probably was. The school lagged so bad that, especially for the art room, I'll have to show you that later, even when I transferred over to computer in November of last year, it lagged so bad. And when I got rid of the paintings, yes, it still lags, but it is so much better. So there used to be a lot of paintings in the hallways, and again, the art room had a whole wall of them. But yeah, it just, would I rather take a wall of paintings or better frame rate? And I chose better frame rate. So some of the rooms may seem a little bit empty, especially some of the hallways like this, but hey, what can you do? But this is the cafeteria. Again, I used bedrock. I wondered if I wanted to match the office at all. And essentially, it is just a giant table in the middle, a couple of smaller ones off to the side. This is when they first added Pinkwood to the game, so I wanted to use that, obviously. Here is the bakery over here, or the kitchen. It's just like a big open pantry. It's just like, hey, take whatever you want. Obviously, none of the chests are full. I should get on that. Are these full? Oh yeah, these are full. Basically, if you ever wanted like beetroot soup, you just come in here, you'd take the beetroot soup, and you'd go. That's supposed to be like a microwave, and then a double fridge. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that you could just pick and choose from inside the kitchen. Then you'd go out here and sit with your friends and eat your lunch. I weirdly did not remove the paintings in here, and actually I really like the roof on this room. The speckled pattern with the lights. Kind of forgot I did that. I kind of like that. And then you go out here, and oh, look at the sun coming into the room. See, there's some good parts about the update, even if the render distance kind of sucks now. And this is an outdoor seating area where you'd sit down, basically like a courtyard. My high school had a courtyard when I was a senior, and that's the same thing here. It's basically just sit down outside, get some fresh air, eat some food. So yeah, cafeteria, again, not the most interesting part of the school, but it is a part nonetheless that I have shared with you. So, let's get off to the classrooms now. There is so many classrooms, and you can see they go all the way down, and there's a whole nother floor of them. There's another floor upstairs as well. So, going right down the list, we'll just go this way all the way over there and then come all the way back with these ones. This is class number 1, which is cooking. Inside of the cooking classroom, there is ovens, all kinds of food, fridges, dishwashers, ovens, whatever you want to call that. There's a bunch of food in here you can cook with. And basically, the whole gimmick of the cooking class is that sometimes they'll make specials for the actual cafeteria. So today's special is a chicken sandwich. Obviously, because this is a video game, not real life, that actually never changes. But if this was real, basically it'd be that the kitchen would make, or the cooking class rather, would make food for the cafeteria. These are supposed to be lockers, by the way, going all the way across, in case you were wondering what those were. Class number 2 is marine biology. So you have an old school chalkboard in here, as well as just a fish tank full of fish, which weirdly all like to sit on the bottom. That is marine biology, pretty simple. There's a fish on the wall. Oh no, that's a clock. I wanted to put clocks in each of the classrooms because obviously when you're at school, you know, you're watching the clock, waiting for the time to pass. So that is, again, what I decided to do here. Could have just put a clock in every single classroom. Class number 3 is the art class, which features all kinds of art, not only paintings, but also like pottery. That blue wall right there used to have all paintings on it, but I removed it again for the frame rate. But you can see you can go across and you can make pottery. This side is all pottery. It's all pottery, actually. This side is like you could do metalworking, whatever this is supposed to be. You can make lanterns. You can draw. That's supposed to be paper. You can paint. That's supposed to be paint. You can make some banners. Basically, art class is any kind of art you could picture. And so I decided to make it a colorful room with a bunch of clay because I figured that'd be appropriate for art class. This is trading. So this is more of a Minecraft skill than obviously a real life skill. And I know what that is. That's because upstairs is the warden room. We'll get to that when we get to that. But basically, this is showing you the process of trading. It's obviously modeled after the old school villager huts with the wood plank and then the bottom layer of wood on it. And basically, it's just saying that you can trade emeralds to get stuff, or you can trade stuff to get emeralds. It's a pretty simple building, but I mean, what do you really need in a trading room anyway? Essentially, this is supposed to be more of a Minecraft school than a real life school. Obviously, there's marine biology and stuff like that, but for the most part, I just wanted to do every skill that you could reasonably do in Minecraft, which is why class number 5 is music. This might not work because I don't know if the sound is working for this recording, but hey, you gotta take what you can get. This is just showing you that on note blocks, each one has a different sound. So on wool, it sounds like this. On sandstone, it sounds like, on gold, it sounds like the bell, as we already mentioned. And then the wood sounds like this. And there's just music patterns on the wall. That is every type of music disc in the game that you could listen to. And yeah, it's also shaped after a piano. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but it's supposed to be like the white piano, and then up top is supposed to be the keys. I wish I did it more white than pink because it looks a little strange, but hey, that's what it's supposed to be. And then class number 6 is veterinary. So this is where I introduce you to my new pets, Sunny and Sesame, who are lovely demonstrations on how to take care of pets. Don't worry, I'm sure they get pampered if they're working in vet care. And yeah, this is just everything you'd expect to find at a vet's office. You got a little bath down there, beehives in case you want to go to bee tending, parrots, cats, dogs, basically anything you need to become a veterinarian. So over there just loops around to the library. If the door would close, that'd be great. Class number 7 is livestock. This is the one that has the barn outside. Any of the classes with the door on the back is one that has an outdoor area that matches it. This is just showing you how to take care of the 4 main types of animals: pigs, chickens, sheep, and cows, and usually what you have to feed them, which is wheat and carrots. Also, it is shaped like a barn. I'm not sure if you noticed that. Class number 8 is farming, and this is modeled after a greenhouse, and on the inside, it not only matches the hay wall with the other side, which is very convenient, it also shows you all the different tools you need to farm, composters, how to work composters, the actual different types of plants in the game, and this one, weirdly enough, does not go outside. You'd think that the farming class would go outside, but you'd be wrong. And then those are just empty up there. So, that is class number 8. Class number 9 is lumber. So this is teaching you how to basically be a lumberjack, cut down trees, gather wood, and craft stuff. So you have all the different types of trees, except for mangrove, because I ran out of room. And now pale oak, but this was made before pale oak was in the game. It shows you all the different types of wood and the different types of planks going all the way around. And this one does go outside to a field with one of every different kind of tree. I know I said I'd show you at the end, but since it's right there and it's easy enough, I'll just show you that right now. Moving on is foraging, and this one is supposed to be a berry foraging class. It's basically showing you how to get food without killing. Basically, it's like a vegan class, right? Like, it's like, oh, you can pick berries from here, you get apples from trees, stuff like that. So on the inside, obviously, you have all the different types of berries. Again, like I just mentioned, the apples and seeds and grass and anything like that. So basically, it's eating for vegans. And this one also goes outside, but again, I will show you all of those at the end. I realized I left a lot of the doors open, though. I must have gone through here and showed somebody. Oh no, it's probably when my friends were in the world. Class number 11 and 12 are kind of one class because one is swimming and the other one is fishing. So if we go inside the swimming classroom, you can see it is just one giant swimming pool, which I have not seen since the new update. It looks very nice. Obviously, you have like the shallow end and the deep end down there. There's the giant buoy that you have to save people with because obviously it's a swimming class. You don't want people to drown. And then there's no wall going between that and the fishing class, which is basically just a pond with some fishing rods because that's how you fish in this game. It's a fishing class. And I wanted a more open aesthetic for this one, and the other one is just kind of blue because it's a swimming class. This one's kind of just a mismatch because the swimming pool needed a lot of space, so that's like the outer wall right there. That's like the foraging room wall, and that's the blue wall. These kind of slammed together because of space reasons, but also because they kind of match, One is supposed to be like the outdoor fishing, and then one's supposed to be like indoor swimming. So yeah, I already did that side. Let's go to combat class now. And this is kind of the weird lump on the back because I needed more space for some of these classes. This is just telling you how to fight other people and enemies and stuff, as you can see by the mannequins around the place and the ones sticking out the window, as well as the snipers who's absolutely going for that guy in leather armor right there. And then obviously this is where you'd fight. I don't know why I put blood on the floor. That was a bit of an extra touch that I didn't need to do. There's some red and blue armor sets need fight. Basically, this is teaching you how to not die because, again, part of Minecraft is fighting the enemies at the end. Archery is by far the largest one. You even have like a little opening area. And the reason I gave archery so much love is because for 2 years I was an archery instructor at a summer camp and I loved it to pieces. But yeah, I love archery, so I wanted to give it a lot of space. Obviously, when I worked in an archery range, you need a lot of space because you're working with bows, right? So you need a lot of space to work those. So this is an actual working archery range. This is the first game that we can actually play today, which is kind of crazy. That would go back to the way it was. That would be helpful. It's not too crazy of a game. Basically, if you hit the thing, a light goes on, and if you hit the other one, the other light goes on. There should be 4 lights in total, I believe. So that one is for that. Yeah, you could see like the diamond and the emerald paintings. And then there's also lapis. Where did the lapis one go? I don't remember. Basically, the game is you hit the lamps and the lights go on. pretty simple stuff. But yeah, I love archery, so I wanted to make sure I gave that one just enough room to do it. And then the last one for the downstairs is mining. This one just has a little minecart going around. I wonder if you can see it. Oh, no, I had to break that too because it lagged the game too much. But yeah, there was a minecart going around here, but I broke it because it was lagging the game too much. But yeah, this one essentially is like, hey, these are all the ores you can find in the wild. Break those. It also goes outside. You know, I'll just show you the outside now. Yeah, so this has a minecart and a chest going all the way down through these little abandoned mineshaft looking pillars all the way to a actual mine shaft. So this one you get hands-on experience actually mining pillars of gold, coal, lapis, redstone, gravel, copper, basically any ore in the game. It also connects down here. There's a couple of minecart and chests. I'm gonna have to jump over here. This connects all the way over to the other part of the school. I showed you all the trees already. This is part of the foraging class. It just takes you to a little area where there's a bunch of sweet berries and glowberries and stuff like that. This connects to the main fountain out back, which also has all the different types of trees. This has some more of the exotic animals, like this is a little polar bear pen right there. This is for bees, which I guess you could argue is for foraging veterinary or livestock. Pick your poison. And that just has a bunch of honeycombs and stuff in the trees. This is a little barn, which has wolves, ocelots, and cats, which is trying to kill the rabbits. You have mushrooms, rabbits, camels, which are a new addition to the game. Don't think I've done anything with camels outside of this, so he's pretty cool. Llamas, horses, donkeys, and foxes. So these are all the other animals in the game that aren't like the main four, or like frogs or something like that. These are all more of the livestock animals, and they all sit in here. And then over here, oh, the camel can sit down? I didn't know they could do that. That's crazy. Again, I've like seen camels twice in this game. And there's just a bunch of like water and food and anything you need to feed these guys all the way over here. So let's go upstairs. We're not even done with the school just yet. Again, this building is absolutely humongous. So going in through the farming class, because I didn't really put an entrance going just into the school straight up. That's a lie. But as you can see, it's all the way down there, and I have to walk all the way down there, which I don't want to do. This is the upstairs, which is a lot bigger and more open than the ones downstairs. Don't worry, there's less classes in here. There's still a couple, though. Starting with brewing. This is one of my favorite aesthetics for classing. I really like the gold with the glass. I think that's a really cool style I wouldn't go in here. Obviously, it teaches you all of the ingredients on this wall. So there's like netherwort for awkward potions, golden carrots for regen, I want to say. And it's just all the things you would need to craft potions. Obviously, I ran out of room, so I just improvised with a couple of things at the bottom. That is every kind of bottled potion in the game. There's obviously just brewing stands, cauldrons, anything you would need, as well as how to make the 4 different types. So redstone is for time, glowstone is for power, gunpowder is for splash, and then the dragon's breath is for lingering potions. So that is this class. Next door, I'm sure like you saw earlier with the warden thing going through the floor, is the deep dark exploration, which basically is supposed to be the warden. Look at my beautiful warden. He's very nice. These guys are having my armor on, by the way. Don't know if you knew this, but that is what my armor looks like, and they have a perfect match of it on. They have a mace and then a netherite sword. They're basically fighting him, and it's basically showing how, you know, these activate the warden, and then you kind of have to fight him and run, because the warden is a very scary man. Of course, I put the other 2 dimensions in the game. This is the end exploration. You can see that's kind of supposed to be like an end portal right there. In here, obviously you cannot make an actual end portal in a super flat world, but this is where it would be. It's supposed to be like the obsidian is supposed to be like the actual portal itself. This is showing you that if you fire an arrow at the crystal, it explodes. That is supposed to be the portal itself. And yeah, just some general decoration around end theming. I like the green perlites in the sky. They kind of have a cool like spiraling pattern there. Next door to this, however, is probably a little bit more eventful. How come every time I close a door, it opens again? What is that about? But this is nether exploration, which is the same thing as the end exploration, except for the nether. You can see this is supposed to be like a nether fortress right there, kind of showing you what you're supposed to be looking for. That is an actual nether portal, which would take me to the nether. Don't believe there's any new additions to the nether, so there would be no point in that. But it's there if I ever wanted to see it. This is a very cool looking building, and this is the last class. This is class 19, which is redstone. And inside the redstone class, it's actually quite large here, is just a bunch of redstone gadgets. So here is just showing you that if you have an observer with a book and you take it out, it activates the redstone lamp. Here, is just showing you the same thing again. I realized it showed you the same thing twice. This is showing you that redstone blocks and redstone torches both activate redstone signals. Over here is showing you how pistons work, because obviously if you press the button, it activates the regular piston. I'm not going to do that. I'm instead going to activate the sticky piston, because that won't break it. The piston would actually just keep it up there, which isn't exactly what I want. This is showing you how hoppers work. Obviously, if I threw this book into the chest, well, if I actually hit it, come on, get in, then the bone would appear inside the chest itself. And then this is just a wall of dispensers. Ironically enough, when I was building it, you see how like those pistons are going up and down? I accidentally activated those with one of the levers on the wall, and it completely pushed everything down a level, and that was annoying to fix, but I did it. It obviously wasn't impossible to fix because I did it, but it just kind of threw off everything going down from here all the way to the next floor, and it was pretty annoying. And then, that's not even it, because there's still a huge auditorium in the school as well. Because obviously schools, you know, big part of school is doing plays and seeing performances and stuff like that. So, there's a big stage with thousands, okay, well, don't exaggerate it, with like 50 seats on the inside that you can watch the play with. And this also connects to the back. There's actually another staircase here, and this just goes back down here. But yeah, these are just seats going all the way down. This is what the peculiar window pattern was for, and that's the last thing I'm going to show you over there, a little sneak peek. If anybody can guess what that is, look at that right now, that bamboo building over there. What do you think that is? Because I guarantee you none of you are actually going to guess what it is. But yeah, anyways, this is the auditorium itself. You can go over here, you can play some ambiance music. And then you can go on stage. You have lights, which are actually controlled. I'll show you that in a second. Big green curtain. This is where you do your performance, obviously. And actually, there's a secret class 16. And secret class 16 takes you to the theater. Yeah. So this class is the last class in the entire school, and it's basically showing you how to be an actor. And basically, it's all the props you would need. These are supposed to be like mirrors. And apparently I didn't remove the paintings. I like how there's two of the exact same painting right there. And these are all different props that you can use in your show. Like wizard wands, different heads to dress up in. You have like bells and stuff and music discs and ender pearls to teleport all over the place. Basically, it's an acting class. And the acting class actually goes upstairs too and can control the lights. Yeah, so if I wanted just one or two lights on, I can turn these two lights off and leave the rest of them on. And they actually connect to the ones downstairs as well. So, not only are you going to have people doing the actual show itself, but you're also going to have people controlling the lights, which is pretty cool. And that is the school. And that took like 3 months of on and off playing. Plus probably like a 6-month break in between too. So yeah, I love it. One of my favorite things in the entire world. Would I build it again if like it blew up? Probably not. A little bit too much work for me. Am I ever going to do a video like here's how to build my school? Maybe, if you guys wanted to see that. I did do that one with the house a couple years ago and you guys really liked that one. So again, if you want to see more videos like that, I'd love to do them. This connects out back as well. There's a new path going here. I know. Oh, it's so exciting. I'm showing you guys new paths. What will he show you next, I wonder? I actually know exactly what I'm going to show you next because this should be the last thing I'm going to show you today. Oh, I forgot about this. Okay, so this, my friends, is the complete map of my creative world. And this will probably be the thumbnail. Actually, let's go get the thumbnail right now, shall we? So yeah, guys, this is the map of my entire creative world. If you guys want to pause, zoom in at any point, everything should be here. I do not believe the observatory is here because I am currently building that. But you can see even things like Sniff Towers is on there, and then the school and the casino, and then the new game I built in the bottom right corner down there that I haven't even showed you yet. So everything should be here. Even that little splurge in the bottom right corner, that's a little secret area that maybe you'll have to download the world and find yourself when I'm done with it. But yeah, that's the world. Pretty cool. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and show you the last thing. And this is a game. This is a full-on, 100% playable game that I made myself. If you want to pause the rules and read them, this is your chance. Essentially, how this game works. Hidden around the entire map is every resource you need for specific crafting recipes. And around this entire arena, I guess the best way is to show you, right, is trees of every different kind. And say your item is supposed to be a birch stair. You'd run over here and you would get birch wood and make a birchwood stair. It's a 2-player game, and basically all you do is you get the recipe from the top, and then you have to make it before the other person does. If orange team gets it first, they flip the lever, and boom, fireworks go off. And if the blue team gets it first, same thing. However, this is a PvP game. So, if you see somebody stealing wood that you need, you kill them and you take it. Or, because this is like a game with numerous rounds, you can also take the advantage of taking all the wood of one kind. However, you'll probably lose the round, and it's usually a best of 3, so that might not be in your best interest. So, every single recipe that involves wood is possible for this. I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. If we head upstairs for a second into the admin's room, right? If we head into the admin's room, you will see this monstrosity. This is the shuffler. It puts items into the top, and as it goes down, it shuffles them around. That way, each time you play, you'll have different items. And if I look in the chest, you'll see every single one of these items involves wood in one way or another. Let's say it's a blue bed. I would need to get 3 oak wood and then 3 blue wool. How do you get blue wool, you're wondering, right? Well, that's where the exploration part of this comes from. So each material that is tied to a specific recipe, let's say it's wool, so we need to get 4 string and blue dye somewhere, right? Well, all the wool and dye is in the balloon up here. So you'd have to run up here. Obviously, there is parkour you'd have to do to get up here, so don't fail that either. And you'd have to get any kind of dye you would need. And at the very top is string. So you take the string, you make wool with it, you get the blue dye from here, and then you'd make 3 pieces of wool. And if you do that before the other person makes their item, which is a different item than yours, so say you get a blue bed and they get like a diamond pickaxe, they have to get diamonds, which if I'm correct should be in the cave in here. It does splash you with night vision as you go in. I believe the diamonds are hidden within the maze in here. So if you go through the maze, remember this would be pitch black. There's different materials hidden all the way within. So say you need to make a torch, that's where you get coal. And if you go through here, as soon as you step on this, monsters are going to spawn in. So you better come in prepared, make yourself a sword, an axe, anything like that. And go ahead and collect your diamonds, make a diamond pickaxe. If it's netherite, well then you have to go to the nether area. With your diamond pickaxe, get an upgrade. You have to get a netherite upgrade, the netherite itself, the gold to craft the netherite, and you'd also have to fight off blazes. Which is why you have to play with fire spread off, because if you leave it on, they will burn down the entire place. I learned that the hard way. I don't know if I'm explaining this well enough, but let's say I had a blue bed and the other person had a gold pickaxe. I would be racing to get the wool and the wood I need before they get the diamond and the netherite they need. Basically, it's a PvP game where you're working against each other to find all the different materials. So, I could show you around real quick. This is where you'd get slime balls, which you need for sticky pistons. Over here on top of the roof is where you'd get feathers, which you need for arrows as well as other things. This cow tower is where you get leather for item frames, obviously. The bee is where you get honeycombs because you might need to make those wooden beehive things, which you need honeycombs for. Inside the water, there's a couple secret things. There's a little secret patch down here that you actually need to swim for. So if you swim under here and go in the secret stash, this is for sand, which obviously you can make glass out of to make stuff like daylight sensors. I don't know. What else is sand used in? I guess glass, really. Yeah, if you just want to make daylight sensors, too. There's sugarcane down here in case you need to make bookshelves, as well as leather. You'd get those 2 combos. Obviously, all the wood you need is over here. Since they added pale wood after I started making this, you have to go through a door maze to get pale wood. That is what the 1 pale wood tree is doing all the way over there. Inside the nether, there's everything you would need from nether wart to netherite ingots to gravel is actually hidden on the tree up here because that is mostly associated with the nether. So again, if you're playing this for the first time, there is a learning curve because obviously I built it, so I know where every material is. But if you're playing it for the first time, then you won't know where feathers are, or gold is, or iron is. And actually, I believe there's iron and gold not even on the cave. They're just on top in the corner over here. So there is, for sure, a learning curve to it. But I I will not lie, I have not had a chance to play this game yet. I've tried it a couple times against the clock. It's very difficult, especially if you don't get a sword, because if you don't get a sword, then it's really hard. But you have to do everything yourself, from getting the right materials to crafting the right stuff, to getting furnaces, to getting crafting tables, anything like that. And then at the end of the round, you throw it all away and you start again. So if that didn't make any sense to any of you, which in reality it probably did not, again, the rules are right here. Go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and read them. I mean, pretty much the sign summarizes it pretty well. This one right here. To start the round, get an item from the middle dispenser. It is your job to craft this item as quickly as possible. And then all materials needed to craft the items are in the chest. I did make sure, I did check for every single craftable item, and every item is represented in one way or another. But yeah, I'll give you a little fly around. It is just a basic arena built with bamboo and moss blocks. It just goes all the way around. It's pretty much a perfect square. It does go right up to the border in the corner because I needed a huge area for this. Because if I fly up, you can see that this area is pretty big. And I don't know. I'm really proud of how this turned out. Again, I haven't played it against anybody yet, so I don't know if it's fun or not. Maybe, if you guys are nice enough, I'll make a video on it my first time playing it with somebody. Probably my brother, maybe my friends, I don't know. I'll find some sucker to play this with me and I'll absolutely whoop their butts. If you guys are interested in seeing that, of course. But yeah, that should be everything in the world that is new of June of 2025. I've not been playing this world as much as I did before. And again, I have moved over to PC now. The last thing I built on Xbox was the school. And I built that minigame, the church, the sniff towers, and then the observatory in PC. Since I started playing on PC, that's what I've been using. And yeah, I do like playing the game on PC. There is a side of me that does miss playing it on Xbox because, you know, that's where I started. That's where I built most of this, right? But I don't know. It's something different. It's something fresh. It's something I can take with me even when I go to college. So, hey, you know what? I like it and I can't wait to make more videos on it for you. The unfortunate news for me is if there was any time to do a remake of my complete tour, it would be now with the new lighting. But I think I'm going to save that until I'm completely done with this world. And then I'm going to put it up for download. I looked into it a little bit. It's a little harder than you'd expect, especially on Bedrock. Give me 3, 4 years, if you even care that much when it comes 3, 4 years. And this world will be up for download for free for anybody to play on. You can play all my minigames. You can go all across my world. Once I'm done with it, it's going up to the public. And I'll make a video on it too. I don't care if I stop making videos. When I finish this world and it's 3 years from now, I will make a video. Pinky promise on that. But yeah, that concludes my June 2025 Minecraft 5-year plus creative world updates. I hope you enjoy this world. I love making these videos. This is a super passion project, and it's one of the first things I ever did on my channel. If you go to my channel and click oldest videos, other than like Smash Time, and I believe the Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke, this was like first year of my channel. One of the first videos I did was my, at the time, 2-year plus creative world. And since then, I'm so glad that you guys latch onto it and like it because I love doing these kinds of videos. And I will keep doing them, well, every June. So I'll see you guys in a year, right? But for now, remember to take care of it because mental health is important. I'll see you all in my next episode. And ta-ta for now.